tiny grains of sand emerge fabulous creations. But coaxing these shifting crystals into gravity-defying castles and figures requires equal portions of creativity, strength, and engineering. Even though their creations last only a short while, those who conjure this amazing art believe that saying goodbye to a sand sculpture is just part of the process.
I like the ephemeral nature of the work. I used to do permanent sculptures. I used to do bronze busts and then large pieces in reinforced concrete that would take me sometimes 3 weeks, 8-hour days, when I can do something twice as big in 3 days in sand or snow or ice.
The styles range from bold to delicate, but each master at the 22nd Annual American Sandsculpting Championship Festival on Fort Myers Beach tests the limits of time and gravity. The definition of a sandsculpting master is as nebulous as their compositions, but all these skilled artists constantly test the boundaries of imagination and physics.
You got to be somewhat of an outlaw, I guess, if you're going to be out breaking Mother Nature's laws all the time. I hope it gets to the judging. I've had it not get there. I've had it almost get there. I've had it barely get there. I've had it blown up before it got there.
One of the oldest competitions of its kind, the Beach Championships draw competitors from around North America each November. It also attracts thousands of locals and visitors, some of whom plan their vacations to witness the formation of a fabulous sculpture garden from the ground up. Sand and water are the only ingredients allowed in the sculptures, which are built over a 4-day period filled with hard work, art, and laughter. Rhinemuth says that the competitors come to Fort Myers Beach for the same reason everyone else does: miles of sugar sand beach.
The sand on Fort Myers Beach is the best in the world. The sculptors here come because of our sand, because it's so fine, it's very sugary fine, it's great for sculpting, it's great for packing. That's the attraction. There aren't a lot of other beaches in the United States that are like this, that are this expansive, that will host an event like this.
You can build tall with it, and you can cut steep cuts with it, and you can cut deep cuts with it. It's a beautiful sand, and most of the contests that are held on beaches, they have to bring sand in. But on Fort Myers Beach, the natural sand is perfect for sand sculpture.
Soon after she moved to Fort Myers Beach, Corning noticed that people were doing more than just playing in the sand. After working with the security detail at the Beach Championships for a few years, she met several of the sculptors and decided to dig right in. She soon understood the physical nature of the event, where contestants have a few hours to get their forms into place, then compact several tons of sand and water. That first day is called the pound up.
Well, it's a very physical thing to do a pound up. We're moving 4 or 5 tons of sand, and in my case I've moved it off to the side first, and now I'm putting it back into the forms. So it can be 8 or 9 or 10 tons of sand a day, and then we have about 3 tons of water that we have to move 1 bucket full at a time into the forms. All of that in a 4-hour period. Once we get the pound up done, it's pure bliss to carve the sand, especially here on this beach.
Since 2002, Corning has managed to carve out a career as a professional sand sculptor, traveling around the country to special events at malls, conventions, grand openings, even weddings. She has appeared on the Travel Channel and will carve any corporate logo. Not bad for a day at the beach. Still, there are immense challenges in fashioning something that prompts people to ask, is that just sand? One such hazard is the extra material that comes from a natural beach.
If you're carving and you hit a piece of debris, you hit it with the edge of your knife and it will flip up out of the sand. So even if it's a small piece of debris, it can blow a big hole in whatever you're carving. And invariably this stuff shows up in an eyeball or something that's really delicate. So we just want to get the debris out as much as we can ahead of time. You know, it's only sand and water, so there's always a good chance that something might fall. My approach is don't be afraid, push the envelope, and if it falls, I can fix it.
Because of the competitive nature, it's not really art, it's a competitive art. So the faster you can do your pound up in most contests, the quicker you can get moving on to doing your carving.
Fred Millette says he never played in the sand as a child, but his desire to be near the ocean fostered his hobby. Or is it the sport? Or rather, the art of sand sculpting? Millette, who lives in Port Aransas, Texas, schedules these working vacations around his business. teaching computer programming to engineers. His energetic nature often leads to sculptures as high as 12 feet, but all that shoveling takes a toll.
I found that I was so sore by the end of pound up that I had a hard time carving that whole first day. So I've developed a technique of managing the pile of what I move the sand, where I move the sand, and try and use the momentum of the sand itself to fill up the shovel, let the shovel go back by the weight, and then just a little bit of push to throw it up. Is it more engineering or is it more art? And for me, it's pretty much 50-50 because thinking about it ahead is pure art, then the design of the forms and how the people are going to be to support everything is pure engineering, but then when you get right down to the expressions of the face and the flow of the finger, that's nothing but art.
I work with snow, ice, sand, and I do fire sculptures as well. So it's basically the same sculpting techniques, but different tools, and the only difference with sand is that it's very physical because you have to pack all the sand first and plywood forms and plastic forms. Whereas snow, you get a big block of snow, or ice, you get big blocks as well.
Patricia Le Guen was born in France and lives in Saskatoon, Canada. She has been competing in sculpting events since 1991. In 2008, she won a bronze medal at the world-famous ice sculpting festival in Harbin, China. Her work is designed to disappear, but sometimes the timing is a little off. At the beach championship, she had to improvise after a minor collapse.
Oh, I had a little setback. Yesterday, actually, I had to build the legs for my pirate because my forms were too narrow at the bottom, so I had to use soft back, and of course it was very heavy, so one of the legs fell down, so I turned it into a peg leg. So you have to be resourceful and go with the flow and change your design somewhat as you go.
The way Amazing Walter McDonald tells it, he's been going with the flow since he first learned how to dribble mud into little piles at a Boy Scout camp. He was supposed to be learning how to swim.
Got me in trouble right away, so I knew it was for me. So 20-something years later, I'm down in South Padre Island, and my friends are down there sitting on the beach, and we've consumed a little bit of beer maybe, and I go, watch this, dribble, dribble, dribble. And now I've dribbled my way around the world. I've built sculptures in China, Japan, Belgium, Holland, Costa Rica, Bermuda, Porto, everything. You know, wherever, just almost anywhere with the beach we've been.
McDonald is not the rock star he set out to be, but making a living building castles in the sand is just as improbable and fleeting. Like the creations they make, these sand sculptors have no trouble moving on to the next project.
No, I look at it as job security. If they stayed forever, what would I do? No, it's kind of a Zen thing. Part of the beauty is that the sculptures don't last forever. In fact, these will probably only last a couple of weeks.
It's the whole process, the creative process that you put into it, that's the most rewarding thing. And the finished product is nice, but it's the whole creation of the piece that's really important. So if it doesn't stay, it doesn't matter. We have lots of memories.